What's going on, Jerome's? We're heading towards spring, so we got to get the daddy or zaddy shirts out and ready to go, man. And we are in the thick THICC of NFL mock draft season. Pro Football Focus did up the recent one, and the Vikings, we get some nice at 23. Mike Renner, the Bachelor, Sam Munson, the Irishman, give the Vikings a little bit of amazingness. So there are trades projected in this one, as well as this is post-combine, so that is factored in. And let's go. 1, Texans trading up from 2 to 1. Get Bryce Young, sure. Will Anderson, the Bears stay at 2. Now, they could conceivably trade down still if there's teams interested in coming up for a quarterback, but taking Will Anderson, a.k.a. Baby Von Miller, it's gross. But whatever. Panthers move up to 3 with the Cardinals. Get C.J. Stroud. I think that he is probably the safest of the big 4 quarterbacks, also with a very decent ceiling as well. I think C.J. Stroud, people are still raving about his throwing session at the Combine, and I think that, Vic and Deshaun Watson answer aside, I think C.J. Stroud is a legitimately good kid. I think he's a good leader. I think that he has everything that you would want in a quarterback. He's got the size, he's got the arm, he's got the talent. There you go. 4, Colts rolling them dice. Jim Irsay, he can't help himself. Anthony Richardson stays at Lucas Oil Stadium where he lit up the Combine, and it's going to be interesting, man. So Shane Steichen coming over from the Eagles. Of course, you saw what they did with Jalen Hurts. It can involve a lot of those similar concepts with Anthony Richardson, but man, I love it. 5, the Seahawks, Jalen Carter. So obviously, Carter stuff is a little bit concerning, but I don't think it's going to necessarily cost him in terms of draft position. And Seattle is able to get the best defensive interior player in the draft. 6, although they certainly could be considering a quarterback at 5. 6, Lions, Witherspoon, where Gonzalez is there and certainly is a monster, but Witherspoon, even though he didn't test as well as measurable wise, he's sort of whatever. Just he's got that tenacity. I think that he is a top 2 cornerback in this class, and it's sort of a, do you want Witherspoon or Gonzalez? Could take both of them. 7, the Raiders. Will Levis, big arm, big upside, all that stuff. And now Josh McDaniels gets his quarterback of the future. Probably going to pair him up with Jarrett Stidham. But yeah, Levis, I'm betting on Levis and Richardson's upside, but the downside is certainly there as well. 8, the Falcons, who did not trade for Lamar Jackson, even though they certainly should. End up with Tyree Wilson coming out of Texas Tech. It's been a hot second since Atlanta's had a consistent edge rush. Cardinals at 9, sitting chilling. So the Cardinals are able to trade down from 3, get a bunch of picks, and they still get Gonzalez on the outside. It's pretty amazing. 10, spicy. Kalijah Cansey coming in from the Eagles. Now, they're going to lose Hargrave, so replacing that quick interior pass rush, Cansey is that guy. And maybe Cansey's never a true starter. Maybe he is just a sub-package rotational guy, but yeah, there certainly is a role for that. Skoronski going to the Titans. Now, some people have made a big deal about Skoronski's arm size, arm length, but it's whatever. Like, you can start him at left tackle, have him replace Luan. Maybe you want to kick him inside if they lose Nate Davis, whatever. Either way, get the best offensive lineman in the draft. 12, the Texans, Quentin Johnston. So the Texans moved up to 1 to go get their guy, Bryce Young to Johnston. Going forward, kind of love it, man. Packers trade up with the Jets, or no, not trade up. The Packers apparently get this pick from the Jets in a Rodgers trade, sure, but they get JSN, slot machine for Jordan Love. So you have Jackson Smith and Jigba, you got Romeo Doubs, you have Christian Watson. That's a nice trio, alkaline trio of wide receivers going forward. 14, Patriots, Joey Porter Jr. So Joey Porter Jr. with Jack Jones, they're probably going to lose Jonathan Jones in free agency. I kind of love it. I really, really do, man. 15, the Packers. Still in the first round, Dalton Kincaid. They're losing Indiana State, go Sycamores. So they get tight end 1 in this class, as well as they get JSN. You hate to see it, where they get rid of Rodgers and now they start loading up on weapons. But, yeah, Jordan Love is going to have some tools at his disposal. 16, Commies taking Paris Johnson. The Ohio State tackles are ridiculous in this draft, aren't they, man? Just absolute monsters. But, yeah, the Commies maybe haven't had decent tackle play since they jettisoned Trent Williams back in the day, but Paris Johnson lands in D.C. 17, Steelers, Deonte Banks. Yeah, Deonte Banks certainly has all the physicality that you want. I'm sure they would have loved Joey Porter Jr. here, but getting him on the outside, even though they have quite a few needs. But cornerback is certainly one of them as well. Trying to fix that defense. The Lions, Jordan Addison, so wide receiver 3 coming off the board, and the Lions. Now, could you say that Addison and St. Brown have a little bit too much crossover in what they do? Sure, but then you have 2 Amon-Ra St. Browns, and you're certainly okay with that. So yeah, you get the smaller, shifty receiver from USC. Good to go there. 19, you got the Bucks, Anton Harrison. So they're having a remake on their offensive line, and could they make a move up for a quarterback? Potentially, but didn't happen here. 20, the Seahawks. So completely reshaping that defensive line. So they get Jalen Carter at 5. They got Van Ness at 20. That's a hell of a draft. I love what they're doing on the defensive line. 21, Brian Bruzzi coming out of Clemson. And you could maybe say wide receiver, although the top 3 are off the board. You could maybe even say tight end in this spot. But Bruzzi has that quick interior pressure. And yeah, he has quite panned out on being the number 1 overall recruit from a couple of years ago, but he could certainly find some pan out his potential out in La La Land with the Chargers. 22, the Ravens, Nolan Smith. I mean, it just seems like the Ravens consistently just grab a freak edge rusher, whether it be Adofo-Mensah, whether it be Za'Darius, whether it be Matt Judon, whether it be whatever. They're just constantly reloading and just getting studs at that edge rusher position, and just freaks of nature, man. So Nolan Smith goes there. 23, Brian Branch coming in from Alabama, and I love this. I absolutely love and adore this selection. He's 14th on PFF's big board, and bottom line in PFF's NFL Draft Guide, Branch is a very high floor defender with a skill set that can fit into every defense in the NFL. I think they really like Brian Branch for a Brian Flores coach defense, just because that secondary is in need of him. They have really no one on paper right now who can play the slot for you, and obviously value-wise, it makes the most sense here. And yeah, even though the Vikings are stacked in the safety room, I don't even like that they put safety under Brian Branch. He is a DB. True blue, man. So even though the Vikings, they do have Harrison Smith, they do have Lewis Cine, they do have Cam Beasley, they do have Metellus, they do have whatever. I mean, Brian Branch is a difference maker, and there's a reason why he tested with the cornerback. There's a reason why he's a guy that's going to have that versatility. He can literally come in and play all 6 spots in the defensive backfield. He's 21 years young, 6 foot, $193, first team All-American in 2022. And 89.5 PFF grade last season, 63.9 quarterback rating when thrown at. Nice. 7 passes broken up, 2 interceptions, 3 sacks, 7 pressures, 90 tackles. So he can run, he can tackle, he can blitz, he can play the slot, he can play outside corner, he can play free safety, he can play box safety. He can be a ball hawk as well. High football IQ, team leader. And we've said, scout the player, not the helmet, but systematically, I mean, Nick Saban is a defensive genius, and his emphasis is defensive backfield play. That's where he played in college. That's where he got his start in coaching the DBs. So that's his pride and joy, and that you see Saban working on the field hand in hand with these defensive backs. And Alabama's defensive scheme, especially in the secondary, are as complex and more complex than some teams in the NFL. So you have a lot of these DBs who are 4- and 5-star recruits that come in and already ahead of the game in terms of learning the NFL game because they've been playing it for the last 3-4 years. And Branch is that guy. He can be the joker in Flores' defense. And I think this is just an absolute slam dunk, home run, hat trick, incorporating all other sports analogies to this pick. I love it, man. Then the rest of it. So Jaguars, Broderick Jones, Zay Flowers, Bajan goes to the Cowboys. Ooh, keeping him in Texas. I don't think Jerry could help himself there. DeJuan Jones goes to the Bills. Man, DeJuan Jones is an absolute unit. Michael Mayer goes to the Bengals. Another weapon for Joey B. Murphy falls all the way to the Saints. Wow. Torrance goes to the Eagles. I hate it, man. And then Felix Anudike-Uzomah stays in state with the Kansas City Chiefs. But if this is how things went down, I would absolutely love it. And I understand that Brian Branch, didn't test amazing, but that doesn't necessarily negate all of his amazing tape that he put on in the SEC in a very complex defense. So if the Vikings land Branch in this spot, and especially if the board breaks down the way that it did, I'm all in. I'm all in for it, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Thoughts on PFF's latest NFL mock draft, where the Vikings land a brand new branch manager. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts and their thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.